Hello, and welcome back.
Thanks for coming back to our second video. While we were waiting for you to do your work, we had a lovely discussion about.
About my in-ground pool in the house I'm buying today. Unbelievable. Yes, I can't wait.
Pool party at Mr. J's every weekend over the summer. But anyways, back to business. You've looked at two different textbook excerpts and hopefully completed the questions. So let's talk about those. Mr. J, according to textbook A, how did the Korean War start?
Well, it's interesting when you read this and you really try to unpack it. You look at the language that was used, and I really look at line 1, the last two words. The American invaders hastened the preparation of an aggressive war in order to destroy it in its infancy. The American imperialists furiously carried out a war project in 1950. So from this, it really sounds like that they're blaming the Americans for the start of the war. Your thoughts, Miss Lyman?
I agree with that. A lot of the language in textbook A feels almost like a personal attack on Americans.
I think the kids say aggro.
Oh, pardon. I'm still learning new words like, tea time and such. Shout out to you know who you are. We have the American imperialists furiously carrying out war, American invaders, aggressive war, unexpectedly attacked. All the language in here feels very targeted at Americans. Just a thought.
Yes, and we know, based on our prior knowledge, that South Korea was allied with the Americans.
Now, textbook...
I'm inferring that, by the way. No big deal.
Textbook B has a slightly different version of events for how the Korean War begins. It starts by talking about how North Korea failed to overthrow the government in South Korea and then pretended like they were going to play nice and make peaceful negotiations.
And that's where you get to the second line. That pretending piece is a stick and carrot strategy, seeming to offer peace negotiations. They were instead analyzing the right moment of attack and preparing themselves for it.
So they essentially tricked South Korea into believing everything was going to be fine, and then all of a sudden they attack unexpectedly.
Wait, hold on. I just gave a direct quote. Ms. Lyman just paraphrased it. Man, if only we had like an analysis strategy. So maybe it's like something along the lines of the cause here is the
failed overthrow of the government
led to
the
stick and carrot strategy.
Attack on South Korea by the North Koreans.
Boom, there it is.
Right, beautiful.
If only we could have rhymed that.
Now, there's still language that suggests that they are feeling some kind of anger, resentment towards North Korea's unexpected attacks. I would say the language is not necessarily as strong as it is in textbook A. But it does talk about the South Korean army fighting courageously.
Oh, no. Oh, yes.
To defend the liberty of the country. So, it's a very different side here. In textbook A, I feel like the idea of America and the West and the capitalist free democracies being attacked. And in textbook B, I feel like the opposite is happening. We're celebrating liberty and democracy. Interesting.
Number 2. Which of these textbooks do you find more trustworthy and why? It is difficult to differentiate between the texts due to the strong persuasive language, aggressive, invader, capitalist, courageously, unexpected, etc. However, using prior background knowledge, it is evident the second source was likely written by an author from a free democratic society, meaning they had freedom of speech, so maybe it's not as part of a totalitarian, say that 3 times fast, government like we would see in North Korea.
What's important is that you realize that there's bias in each of these sources. But Mr. Janikis brings up a great point. We have freedom of speech and the ability to write what we want. I think someone who's patriotic and someone who's an American might start reading textbook A and feel a little bit offended even, and just automatically I say, I trust B more. But remember, everything has some sort of bias, so just approach with caution. Because there's bias everywhere, something you should do is find additional sources to corroborate. And that brings us to where else would we look in order to figure out how the Korean War started?
Well, there are numerous sources a historian could utilize. I'm thinking you guys could probably think of 3 or 4 links that we consistently use. One might be
History.com.
History.com. But, as Ms. Lyman alluded to, there is bias in everything. So, in a capitalist democratic society, we might see the war slightly different than, say, a neutral third party who did not participate directly in the war. Another source could be National Archives, Library of Congress, any of those neutral, as best they can be, sources. Now, I'd be remiss if I did not highlight the Jucheon calendar. That is the official North Korean calendar that they use. They do not use the Gregorian calendar that is commonly used around the world, like us.
All right. So, I am hoping you were able to deduce which textbook was which. So, drum roll, please. The Korean History Senior High, which comes from Seoul, South Korea, would be textbook B. And the history of the revolution of our great leader, Kim Il-sung. Just from the title, I think we could probably figure that out.
I think that might be the only evidence that we really need for that one, which obviously is textbook A.
And we already provided a lot of the language to help support your answer, so hopefully you found some of those phrases as well in your work. So, nice job today. We have stuff that we can do next. First of all, most importantly, before you get to CNN,
Remix!
You have a quiz on Tuesday. Somewhere around maybe 15 multiple choice questions, maybe a few more. It's fluctuating at the moment, so you need to spend some time preparing for this.
Standard 2, which are those different perspectives. Standard 3.
Why is it important? Significance.
And Standard 4.
C-E-R.
And one of them might be poetic.
And Mr. Genetic wrote the poems.
Oh, hey, don't throw me under the bus. I threw in the ish.
I thought they were good. It was a good thing. So, review the list. They tell you which handouts to take out, which handouts to review. And if I were you, I would spend the whole time reviewing. However, please remember, there are also links to CNN 10 available if you feel studied out.
Monday!
One of my favorite days of the year.
Dr. Seuss?
Love it.
Okay, I guess we'll be checking out Dr. Seuss then. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.